AJ can't box. He's a big old wood on top like this here, looking for a big right hand and a left hook. He couldn't even do nothing with Joseph Parker, and he's a very, very, very poor man's Tyson Fury.
Did you catch a glance at him today, sitting there ringside?
Fuck Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury has fired some hazardous shots at Anthony Joshua after Joshua's "fuck Tyson Fury" comments in an interview following his triumph of knockout chaos against former UFC heavyweight champion Francis. In the aftermath of his victory, numerous questions awaited Joshua's responses, and in answering one of them, he quipped, "Fuck Tyson Fury!" Tyson Fury has never been known as one to back out of verbal battles, and now he's come back with some perilous words for Joshua. Let's check out Fury's responses right away. Tyson Fury and Joshua have casually begun an intense build-up to their proposed match, should the Gypsy King defeat Alexander Usyk on May 18th in Saudi Arabia. Tyson Fury has been in unending verbal battles with Francis ever since their fight in October was fixed. Before the fight with Francis, both fighters had their usual face-offs and exchanged words several times. But even after the fight was over, none of the boxers backed out of backlashing each other. With the both of them sending words to each other shortly before the knockout chaos, Fury and Francis might just need another match to set up such an endless rift. From the look of things, Joshua seemed to have replaced Francis as Fury's main boxing enemy, with Francis set to return to MMA to fight against Renan Ferreira. Joshua gave the most unexpected response when he was told about Fury's applause for him after his victory. His response was as shocking as his knockout victory over Francis. "Fuck Tyson Fury!"
Fuck Tyson Fury.
Okay.
Now, Tyson Fury is back, with a lot more than just the 3 words Joshua targeted at him. If Joshua's got 3 words, Tyson's got 1,000. Tyson wasted no time in bouncing back Joshua's exact words, only that he blotted out his name and inputted Joshua's. "Fuck Anthony Joshua. Yes, fuck Anthony Joshua again and again." Fury started by firing the same arrows Joshua fired at him, but twice as much as Joshua did. "I tipped that motherfucker to win. I tipped him to win because Francis is just as fucked as Joshua is, and I did that for the sake of the game." Fury admitted he truly tipped Joshua to defeat Francis, but not because Joshua was his favorite or he had some preference for Joshua, but because he claimed they're equally fucked. He then said he picked Joshua for the sake of the game. Evidently, he was talking about Joshua's boxing experience, saying he picked Joshua because Francis wasn't a real boxer, and Joshua was to use the experience of the game in his own favor. Then Tyson continued, "I knew a victory for him would put some words back in his mouth. He's lost his voice for the past few years after disgracing his sport by losing to the same guy twice. But with that win, I knew he'd vomit the trash sitting in his intestines, but I tipped him for another reason." Tyson sounded both regretful and spiteful. He claimed he knew Joshua would find his lost voice after defeating Francis, a voice he lost after losing twice to Alexander Usyk and disgracing the sport, claimed Fury. Remember some time ago when Tyson Fury was asked about Anthony Joshua's loss to Alexander Usyk and the possibility of a third fight between them, and his response was just as condescending as this. "He's been busted by Usyk a couple of times already. We all saw that fight. It was one of those things where he just doesn't have the guy's number. Leave Usyk to me. The little southpaw man, I'll say him. No problem. Twice if he wants it. Leave him to the GK." Fury's response smelled contempt and disregard for both Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. He called Usyk a little southpaw man and believed he was capable of slaying him. He hit Joshua as well, saying Joshua had been busted twice by Fury and he shouldn't attempt a third fight because he just doesn't have Usyk's number. Well, Tyson Fury has been presented with the perfect opportunity, as he now has a chance to face both men in consecutive fights. A victory over Alexander Usyk would send him directly into a matchup with Anthony Joshua in what has been tagged as the Battle of Britain. A victory over both fighters will authenticate Tyson Fury's integrity. Back to Tyson's shots at Joshua for his comments. Tyson felt Joshua had used his win over Francis as a liberty to vomit trash, but he revealed he tipped Joshua to win for another reason. And the reason was none other than this. They are both fuck guys, but you know one other reason why I picked him? It's because I've kicked Francis's ass, and I need to do the same to that self-deceiver. Fury confessed that he picked Joshua, Not for their British heritage, nor for the fact that they're both boxers and Francis isn't, but because he needed the perfect opportunity to whoop Joshua's ass like he did to Francis. He called Joshua a self-deceiver, one who puts himself in a place where he's not. He then gave Joshua a little more dragging before leaving the rest of his actions for the Battle of Britain. Aren't you both sausages? For a fact, you're a worse sausage, a disappointment to the whole of Britain. Fury claimed Anthony Joshua and Francis are both sausages, and Joshua's even a worse sausage. He called Joshua a disappointment to the whole of Britain. Joshua probably didn't expect this much when he sent Fury that message, but Fury has come with his full weight to displace Joshua with his words. Fury's sausage insult to Joshua must have stemmed from an interview, the same one where Joshua said, "Fuck Tyson Fury." After that shocking statement, Joshua continued by explaining why he said that. "No, I was going to say, I don't like trash-talking people, but I heard him say something like, 'Oh, I'm here to do commentary about these two sausages,' or something like that."
I was gonna say, I don't like trash talking people, but I heard him say something like, "Oh, I'm here to do commentary about these two sausages," or something like that. Bro, that guy.
Joshua claimed he heard Tyson Fury talking about his presence at Knockout Chaos, saying he came to give commentaries on two sausages, Francis and Anthony Joshua in this case. That must have been perceived so rudely by Joshua, forcing such an unusual statement from him. Then he went into more details. "Bro, that guy that I fought that he fought is an ex-UFC heavyweight champion, phenomenal story, someone who's changed his life around, and he's just too disrespectful, so forget what? Forget anything about him right now." Joshua then re-emphasized Francis's records and gave him more respect for all his achievements in MMA and boxing. He termed Fury disrespectful and was willing to talk more about him. In the rest of the interview, Joshua was asked if the plan was to get Francis knocked out that quick, and he gave his honest response. "Nah, not at all. When he went down, that's why I didn't rush anything. I was happy to go another 10 rounds with him, stay in the ring, test myself and all that good stuff, but I just let what was naturally going to happen. I didn't plan it. It wasn't like I needed to take him out. He's hurt. I just kind of felt like I'd hurt him. Let me just kind of go with the flow. And then we're now here talking about a second-round knockout. But listen, most importantly, we're talking about the fight and the knockout." Joshua explained what really happened. The public gets to see the live actions going on in the ring, but there are some actions they don't see. The mental actions going on in the fighters' minds. And that was exactly what Joshua explained. He claimed the early knockout wasn't a premeditated action, but was born out of a natural flow. According to Anthony Joshua, even after the first knockdown, he was willing to go another 10 rounds, stay in the ring, test himself, and just be good. But he discovered Francis was hurt and decided to go with the flow, and the eventual result was the outcome of going with the flow. He then went on to credit Francis and his team. Credit to Francis and his team. I know there was talking a lot, and I think if that had been me on the receiving end of that knockout, I really think they would have used it as major momentum, torn my name down, and ripped me apart. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say respect. He's already shocked the world. UFC heavyweight champion, phenomenal story transition from MMA. I'm going to only speak good of the man as well, yeah. Even though we talk about the knockout chaos and the performance, let's not let that be the definer moment of Francis. Joshua has acted so professionally all through the build-up to knockout chaos, and he's sticking with that same approach in the aftermath of the match. He once again lauded Francis and his team for their performance and having such a smooth transition into boxing. He, however, revealed a bitter truth about Francis' men, claiming they'd have ripped him apart and torn his name down if the match went the other way, but claiming he wouldn't do that. He then urged boxing fans to look beyond knockout chaos and not define Francis's person and boxing career by a single match. He was then asked about his relationship with Ben Davidson and if Ben is his main trainer now. He gave a funny response initially before getting deeper. "I work with Angel Hernandez. I work with 6 people. I've got 6 people telling me what to do at one time, and now I'm joking. Yeah, I've made a new home with Ben Davidson. I'll be working with Ben. Yeah, I'll be working with Ben."
I work with 6 people. I've got 6 people telling me what to do at one time. And now I'm joking. Yeah, I've made a new home. Ben Davison. I'll be working with Ben. Yeah, I'll be working with Ben.
We assume that you're not going to sit around waiting for 2 possible Fury-Usyk fights. You want to...
This statement shows how much great work Ben is doing on AJ and how much improvement AJ has made with him. As a result, AJ is willing to continue with Ben on his team.
I do want to ask you about Ben Davison. That relationship with Ben Davison seems to be blossoming very well. Is Ben Davison your main trainer now? No, because we don't know.
I work with Angel Fernandez, Joey Clayton. I work with 6 people. I've got 6 people telling me what to do at one time. And now I'm joking. Yeah,
Also, this statement brings Joshua's moment of triumph to memory, where he was asked about the past 11 months and how he's bounced back with several consecutive wins. In response, Joshua said, "The Ben Davison performance is great." And now he just explained his willingness to keep up his strong relationship with Ben Davison. Joshua was also asked about his next move in boxing and how infeasible it was to wait for Usyk and Fury's double clash. AJ's response looked like he'd got some hidden matchups for his fans. "Yeah, whether it'll be in the UK, who knows, maybe June or July. Let's go." About this unknown opponent, AJ was presented with a list of options and asked if these fights looked likely to happen soon. His response sounded positive when asked if Wilder could come back to the table. At some point, Wilder, Zhang, and Parker, I think all of them. Talking about Zhang's latest match, Joshua said he really looked good on TV. And when asked about Parker, he had more to say. "Parker, for me, I put him in like the current heavyweights. I think he'll go down in history. He's one that you could look at and learn a lot from. He's had his trials and tribulations and just comes back stronger. Obviously, I'll fight him if we need to. But apart from that, take me off to him." AJ seemed to have nothing but respect for Parker and must have drawn some notable lessons from him as well. However, he didn't sound reluctant to take him on if such an occasion arose. When asked about his plans for the next week, Joshua was well scheduled and prepared for the coming weeks. Steam, take an ice bath, do some washing, stretch, play a bit of pool, catch up with my family and close friends, tidy my room, pack my bags, and then travel back to the UK, and then hit the gym. He then shared a piece of his mind, a series of thoughts that must have deluged his mind while he experienced those 2 losses from Alexander Usyk. "In boxing, when you win, for me, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel fulfilled. It's just in to the next. When I lose, that's when I feel it. It's kind of like when you're in the spotlight under pressure. You only feel like you're well known or famous when you do something wrong. When you're kind and just doing what you're doing, you just get on with your day-to-day life. People support you. Some people do. Some people don't. Luckily, Joshua has a win this time. And even right there in the arena, his win was greeted with applause, roars, and ovations. You know when you do something wrong and your name is on the table for the wrong, you realize how famous you are and how well known you are. When you win, it's like, well done. Who are you fighting next? If I had been sitting here today on the losing end, this would have been a massive interview. It would have been bigger if I had lost. Everyone likes negativity, but not me, bro. Head up always. Stand tall." While this is a true fact of life, it is hopeful that Joshua and other boxers will learn to move on from defeats and keep their heads up. Tyson Fury's stance remains very complicated and controversial. He tipped Joshua for a win, insulted him just before the match, praised his performance after the match, and then returned with some more insults. When asked about Joshua's performance, he seemed impressed and elated. "Absolutely fantastic. It was a fantastic knockout and I almost got it right. I predicted 1 round and he got it in 2. It was a rude awakening for Francis. You get a bit cocky like he did, and it was what it was. He got knocked out, and that's what a boxer should do to an MMA fighter. So credit to AJ, he did a fantastic job."
His performance
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. It was a fantastic knockout, and I almost got it right. I predicted 1 round, and he got it in 2.
However, even in Fury's friendliness, you could sense so much hate and enmity. He spoke about his match with Usyk and forcefully brought Joshua into the discussion. "Credit to both of them, but I got a real fight coming on May 18th for Usyk. The man who dethroned AJ twice, and I'm going to have to beat him up twice. And then after that, I'll see they're still available and I'll fight Joshua again."
Fight coming on May the 18th with Usyk, the man who dethroned AJ twice, and I'm going to have to beat him up twice. And then after that...
Shockingly, while Joshua spoke positively about the proposed matchup with Tyson Fury, Fury seemed unsure of the fight. "I've never thought it would ever happen. I've told you that many, many times. However, it's getting closer and closer, and with Turkey al-Sheikh, anything is possible." Fury spoke of the possibility of the matchup, but felt it was never going to happen for some reasons best known to him. Notwithstanding, the Balls of Britain is a matchup the world will want to watch. Fury then finished by expressing how proud he was of Joseph Parker and how he's so happy for him. Fury, even before now, has always been inconsistent in his opinions about Anthony Joshua, making it more shocking why he supported Joshua over Francis. He's used to throwing shades at Joshua, and he's done it over and over again. Talking about Jose Parker, Fury once threw jibes at AJ after his match with Jose Parker. When asked some time ago about Anthony Joshua, he had this to say: "AJ can't box. He's a big old wood on top like this here. I'm looking for a big right hand on the left hook. He couldn't even do anything, and he's a very, very poor man."
AJ can't box. He's a big old wood on top like this here, looking for a big right hand and a left hook. He couldn't even do nothing with Joseph Parker, and he's a very, very, very poor man's Tyson Fury.
Another time, Fury had this to say about Anthony Joshua: "Let's do Joshua in December, why not? It's a boxing match, let's get it on. You know I'm ready to go now. I can fight him in that ring tonight. I don't really matter, still I kick his ass any time of the day, doesn't matter."
Don't really matter. I still kick his ass any time of the day. Doesn't matter anyway.
In another controversial interview, he limited AJ so much that one would think he couldn't defeat a lightweight. AJ is a limited opponent. He's big and strong, and that's it. He isn't going to bring anything to the ring, though. You're not expecting. He's not going to get on his toes and dance around for 10 rounds. You know what you get with me. He's got to come forward in a straight line with his hands up around his head. Look at those power punches. He's doing well, and he's got ESCOM belts. But he's a better fighter than Deontay Wilder.
AJ's a limited opponent. He's big and strong, and that's it. He isn't going to bring anything to the ring that you're not expecting. He's not going to get on his toes and dance around for 10 rounds.
Tyson rubbished Joshua mercilessly, but tried comforting him by claiming he was better than Deontay Wilder. Further attesting to Fury's inconsistency in most of his comments about Joshua, he had something entirely different to say when asked about the Battle of Britain many years ago. "It's a great fight for people to get the forts flowing, juicing, and what I can say is that it'll be a massive event for the country, a massive event for sports, and it'd be a massive fight globally between two heavyweights, over 6 feet, over 6 feet, over 18 stone, both unbeaten, both world champions. So it's a battle of the ages. It's Achilles versus Hector."
You know, I don't like trash talking people, but I heard him say something like, "Oh, I'm here to do commentary about these two sausages," or something like that. Bro, that guy that he fought, is an ex-UFC heavyweight champion. A phenomenal story, someone who's changed his life around, and he's just too disrespectful, so forget anything about him right now.
This time, Fury was full of praise for both Joshua and himself, putting Joshua alongside him as two of boxing's greatest. The major highlight of Fury and Joshua's feud is Fury's inconsistencies when he approaches matters involving Anthony Joshua. Evidently, Joshua might just be tired of the inconsistency, which is why he hit back at Fury for calling him a sausage. This long-term feud might only come to an end after it gets in and out of the boxing ring. Even after how many years, the Battle of Britain remains one of the most anticipated boxing matches ever. Joshua ended the knockout chaos in the most chaotic way, ensuring it truly lived up to its name as the Knockout Chaos. Francis, who had been tipped to rip off Joshua after his marginal loss to the Gypsy King, was on the receiving end of 3 devastating right-hand punches from Anthony Joshua. On 3 occasions, he fell to the ground, but could only survive 2 of them. Joshua's second punch of the second round was enough to steal the win away from the Cameroonian and establish Joshua as the main contender for the unified heavyweight championship match between the winner of the match between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. Joshua seemed ready to face any of the 2 boxers. However, his record against Alexander Usyk would raise some concerns among his supporters after being unable to come out victorious against him in 2 matchups. A matchup with Usyk will create the perfect atmosphere for Joshua's revenge. However, if Fury successfully gets the better of Alexander Usyk in the double matchup, then we have the Battle of Britain right before our very eyes. Until next time, peace out.